Hello guys and welcome back to another web development episode. Today we're going to take a look on login pages. So without any further ado, let's get started. Okay guys, so first things first, what I have opened here is the browser with what we have right now. I created a new document so we can start from scratch, but I made the top navigation bar the thing we did last time, so we don't have to just do everything all over again. So this is the file we have, and this is the style sheet. I basically took what we had and made a few modifications, but it's basically the same thing, didn't add any properties. So now we can get started on it. So what I have right here is just the home page, and it's just one HTML file. So what we want to do now is make a login page and a sign up page. So we're going to start with the sign up page. Now those are going to be PHP, and basically everything is going to be now PHP. So we're going to close this. We're going to go here. Maybe we're going to use that later, but for now not. And we're going to right click, and we are going to go to properties, and here you can see it's an HTML file, so we're going to want to put PHP, but that didn't change much because it's just the name we changed with the .php. So what we're going to do is click onto view, and then you want to go for file name extensions, and then you can actually go here and modify the extension itself from HTML to PHP. So now it's a PHP file, and we can hide the extensions. Perfect. And it shows the extension now because it's not a recognized format. You can see on CSS doesn't. So we're going to need to open up XAMPP, the control panel. I'm going to put a link in the description for where you can download it. And you're going to want to just start a posh. Okay, done. Now what we're going to want to do is move this folder. So we're going to copy this folder to a place. So we're going to go to, I think here we can just move them. Copy. So you're going to want to move these files. We're going to go here, move to, choose location, go to this PC, onto the C drive, onto XAMPP, and here we want to go to htdocs, and we're going to move them. So now we're going to go to that address, and we're going to make a folder that we're going to call website, and I'm going to move these into here. So this is it. So now what we want to do in order to access the file, because this isn't the file, we're going to go here and type localhost, and we're going to type website, and we're going to type website.php, and we opened it. So this is the file. Now basically it's just a regular HTML file for now, but you're going to see later what's going to go on with it. So we're going to go to open files, and we're going to open these files because we need them. And since we moved them, the ones that are already there, they aren't usable anymore. So we're going to open these files really quick, and here we have them. Now we're not going to put a PHP code in here yet, but you're going to see later. So for now, we're going to add here a sign up button. So I'm going to put here sign up .php, and we're going to put sign up here, and we're going to close the tags, and we're also going to add a login button. Okay, so now that that's done, we're going to go ahead and create a new file. That's done with Control N, and we're going to save it as signup.php. Okay, so this is the one that we need, so we're going to put here type HTML. We're going to open up here some HTML code. And we're going to also put our style sheet. Okay, we're going to close the head, and we're going to open up body, and we're going to also close the body and the HTML part. Now we're going to add a PHP code for functionality a bit later, but for now I just want to do the forms in this episode. But for that we needed to just convert these into PHP so we don't have to do it later. Okay, so what we're going to do is add the same bar from here. Okay, and now we're going to take class active from this one, and we're going to also add it in a link. And we're going to also close it, and because we're on the sign up page, we're going to remove the link, and we're going to make it class active. So now if I go here and refresh, you can see we have two new buttons. I'll have to modify a bit that link, but anyway, for now, if you click on sign up, you can see we're redirected to this page. Now let me remedy the fact that it's like that. So we're going to put text decoration none. Okay, so we got rid of that, and we're going to need some text color, so I'm going to make that white. Perfect. And unhover. Where's the hover? We are going to let that alone, and yeah, that's basically all good. So now, refreshing, it's all fine. So the next thing to do, and maybe just take this cursor pointer and put it everywhere on this. So cursor pointer, because as you can see now, before refreshing, the pointer is still the same, and only when we get above the link it gets to that hand thing. So what we did is basically we made it a hand all over it. Perfect. Now what we're going to do is add the form itself. So this should be a step backward, and we're going to add a new division here, and we're going to close that up, and inside we're going to make a form, and the method is going to be post. We're going to see later what that does, but for now we're going to leave that alone. That's mostly going to be used into the PHP code to get the data from the from the input fields, and we're going to transfer it over to the PHP code to put it into the database and check in and log in. So what we're going to do now is add some input type, and we're going to put text box. I think text box it was. I hope it was. Yep, perfect. And we're going to want to add some style for it, but for now it's fine. So we're going to put class form, and here we're going to put class log and sign. Perfect. Also, we're going to add input type, and we're going to add password, and input type, and this is going to be another text box because I forgot some things, and we're going to be taking this with cut, and we're going to put that here. I'm going to show you later what we're going to use everything for, but for now we're going to just use it like this. Perfect. So now we're going to add some placeholders, and in this one we're going to put email address, and into this one we're going to add username, and in this one we're going to add password, but capital P, and in this one we're going to add confirm your password. Perfect. Now you could add more input fields if you wanted to, but this is it for now. So now if I go here, you can see we have email address, username, password, confirm your password. But it's not all done. We're going to have to add those classes we said we would. And the first thing we're going to do is add a form class. And what we're going to do inside it, we're going to do it with. And we're going to make it let's see. I think 50% will do. No. 50 of the viewport width will do. And we're going to put, I think it was min width, like that, or without this this one. And this is going to be like 200 pixels. What this means? Well, if I put it here, well, excuse me for a second, we're going to add a border. I'm going to make it 1 pixel black. That'll do for now, but where is it? Here it is. I'm going to add position, maybe auto. Why can't we see the border? We added it inside of it. We added the class. And I'm going to add a height of 60% of the viewport height. and with a minimum height of 250 pixels. So let me think why it does this. So let's do position relative bottom, no, top, and we're going to do 60 pixels and left 80 pixels. Okay, so it does indeed apply them, but why isn't the border visible? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Hmm. Oh, and also we're going to add break lines after each and one of them, because after this one we don't, because we want them aligned vertically, and because we're going to do that a bit later. But why doesn't it work? We're going to add padding 30 pixels, and yet still we can't see the border. Oh yeah, we had to do it solid. That's it. Yep, there we go. Okay, so if you would look here, you can see that the viewport width is basically 1920 pixels, and the height is roughly 900 pixels approximation, without the taskbar and the top browser bar. Now you can see that this box right here is always 50% of the viewport width. That means 960 pixels, and it's going to be 50% of the viewport height. And if we said it's 900 pixels from here to here, then it's going to be 450. Now this will modify automatically depending on the viewport size. That means the browser window. But you might notice we added that minimum width and minimum height. Well, what that does is if you get your window too small, well, you might notice that at this point it stops getting smaller. Well, that is because it reached its minimum width. Because it got to 200 pixels, and then it can't get smaller than that because this is the minimum width we set. This is pretty useful if you want to do basically to automatically adapt for resolutions, but when it's too small, it's not going to get unclickable. So that's what we try to fix. Now also we're going to add a border radius because we want to make it nice, and we're going to add it around 7 pixels. I think that's going to do it. Yep, and it's okay. Now let's get a bit to those text boxes. So here we're going to add IDs. Well, that is because basically we also want to pass it to the PHP code, and then we're going to add this mail address. I don't think I spelled it correctly. I think it's like that. and we're going to also put a D here. And we're going to also add IDs to basically every and one of these. So this is going to be username, and this is going to be password, and this is going to be pass confirm. Okay, now also we're going to add a little class to each and one of them, and that class is going to be in field text. Okay, and that's basically going to be our class name. It stands for input field text, and that's what we're going to be using. So right now I'm going to make a class with that name, so in field text, and I'm going to add border radius, and that's the first thing. We're going to add it around 7 pixels, and we're going to add a height that's going to be, I think, around, no, that's too much, 25 pixels, and the width is going to be, no, 500 is too much. It's going to be 70%. You're going to see a bit later what that is, and then minimum width is going to be 190 pixels. Also, we're going to show you immediately. So refreshing, you can see now that the text box looks nicer. We're going to modify a bit the border and stuff, but for now it's okay. And now what you can see is that as I move around the dimension, also this dimension moves. So the width of the text input field moves. But once I get to a certain dimension, it can't get smaller, again, because of the same thing, and you'll basically have to scroll to see the whole page. Oh, and also, I think this also deserves like a little minimum minimum width. And that is going to be around 300 pixels, because we don't want that to get smaller too. So once we get to this past point, it should not be able to get any smaller. So that's for the nav bar, and I think, no, it should do it. That's weird, but we're going to take a little look at that later. But you can see basically how this works, and now let's take a bit care of that text box. So we're going to make a border that's going to look 2 pixels thick, solid, and it's going to have the color around a darker gray, but not really black. I think this is a light gray. No, it's a dark gray. Yes, the higher the value, the more light. Yes, so lighter. Okay, so now what we're going to do is margin bottom, and that's going to be, I don't know, 15 pixels. And now we can see we spaced them out, but I think that that border is too thick. Okay, so now it looks pleasing, and you're going to have to complete these. Now, in the PHP code, we're going to make sure that it's a valid email address, and that's it should have just certain characters and stuff like that, but for now it's fine. Okay, so what we're gonna do next is actually add, we're gonna make it so that the text is centered. So text align center, and here it goes. So so now it looks way better, and it also has a minimum width and height, so it can't really just go over it. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is add a little span text on the bottom. So we're going to add a break line, and we're going to add span, and we're going to add, and we're going to put just individual style for it, because some inline CSS, because I don't want to make anything very cluttered. So we're going to add that, and inside we're going to add already have an account href, and it's going to be login.php. Login here. Okay, and theoretically it should work. So we're going to also do font family, and we're going to do something like Tahoma. Refreshing, you can see this here. Already have an account, log in here, and it's going to redirect you to that page that doesn't yet exist. And font size 12 pixels. Perfect. And the next thing we want to do is just basically add a button. So this is going to be input type, that's going to be submit, and the class, it's going to be button, because that's the only thing that's the most easy thing to remember. And we're going to do ID equals sign up. And if I'm going to go here, and also we're going to add a break line, because we actually need to do that. Now you can see this button here, and inside it I'm going to add some text. So value is going to be sign up. Perfect. But it doesn't really look that nice. So we're going to take care of that now. So we're going to add a class called button, and we're going to make it border radius. That's going to be 7 pixels. We're going to add a color, which is going to be white. We're going to add transition. That's going to be 0.6 seconds ease. It's going to have background color orange, because most of the things are orange in this site. And we're going to add border, and we're going to make it 1 pixel thick. We're going to make it orange, and we're going to make it solid. And here we go. But the width and height and stuff are not good, so we're going to add font size. We're going to make it 16 pixels. We're going to make it width 100 pixels, and height is going to be, or not, we're not going to do that. We're going to add padding, and it's going to be 10 pixels and 30 pixels. And it's okay. Oh yeah, and we're gonna add one more break line. So it basically has two. Okay, well spaced. So this sign up button does nothing yet. We're gonna have to make some PHP code for it, but it looks reasonably good. But we're not done yet. So we're gonna make button hover, and we're gonna make it background color white, and we're gonna make it color orange, and now when I hover, you can see that the button changes and it looks like this. Now probably this would look better with a darker color. Let's see if it recognizes blue. Yep, it does. I'm gonna make this blue, and the color is gonna be blue. F5, and the button is now darker. But if you would look onto it, you can see it looks reasonably good, and I think it's gonna look even better with Dodger blue. And it's gonna be Dodger blue. F5, and this actually looks much better, and you can see the button, it looks reasonably good. So this is basically how you do the sign up form, and on to the next episode we're going to look onto some PHP code to actually make use of it. So yeah guys, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you want to see more, click the subscribe button. See you next time on HowToIT.